Capricorn, this is your February 2022 soul story. This month, you're set to feel more like yourself than you have for a very long time. This is Romy. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to give you some astrological dates and some intuitive messages that will hopefully support you in navigating your way through February. So we're opening up with the energy of the Six of Pentacles. More than anything, you really have to find a way to be you, regardless of what is happening to you or around you. We need you to remember that you mustn't be censoring your magic. You have to allow yourself to start to present and express yourself in a much more radically authentic way than ever before. We're in Aquarius energy, and this is helping you to tap into that part of yourself. You also have Mars through your sign in the entire month, and this is going to give you a tremendous amount of focus and energy and real support to be able to make the headway that perhaps you felt like was a little bit stop-start up to this point. Six of Pentacles says it's about the reciprocal energy exchange. And of course, you know, we've talked about this the last couple of soul stories, but Venus is now direct. And so this enormous shift and rebirth that has taken place for you in terms of your value consciousness now has an opportunity to be discussed meaningfully and to really be thought through in a way that makes sense for you. What do I want to commit to? Who do I want to commit to? How do I want to show up? What do I expect others to do in order to facilitate a more balanced and harmonious way forward for not just me, but for this partnership, this group, this family, and even this collective energy. Now, the new moon comes in Aquarius on the 1st of the month. It always brings revolution with it, and the upgrades are coming in at warp speed. Your seeds of intention around this new moon are going to have extra potency as we also open up the gateway on the 2nd with 222 energy, coming into a much more deeper sense of alignment with who you are, what you stand for, how you want to show up in the world. Nobody brings what you bring, Capricorn. And you have to remember that the purpose that you have, whether you have discovered what that is or you feel connected to it or not, isn't just in the job that you do, it's in the way that you move through the world and the energy that you bring, the hearts that you touch along the way. And there's something about this month of February where you're having this real sort of moment of an exhale and just starting to feel like, do you know what, like I feel so much more at peace to be me and to operate and move through the path that I've created for myself in a confident way, and such, starting to feel into a sense of satisfaction about some of the previous choices where you may have had some doubts before. Now, on the same day, Juno, the asteroid goddess, also shifts into Aquarius, and here she rules, remember, marriage, partnerships, social customs, and you want more personal freedom. You know, it's not to say you want to be single or independent, but those formal agreements, those contracts, marriages, partnerships, personally, professionally, you know, all of them now being given the opportunity to say, how do I get more oxygen into this? How do we renegotiate the terms based on what we've just been through? The Three of Wands here is giving vision and an opportunity for you to step forward in a little bit more of a leadership role, you know, or take the lead certainly in some regards. And I think people are going to be looking to you to do that in very many circumstances. Now, she's holding her hand out and there's still a little bit of reluctance here. The body language for me is not quite in synergy and harmony. And so with that Six of Pentacles and Three of Wands, it suggests to me that there's still something that's a little bit out of sync, whether that's within yourself or in a key relationship that you have focus and attention on through the month of February. Now, we also have Mercury shifting direct in Capricorn on the 3rd. So once we get past that, even though we're going to be working the shadow energy a little bit this month, you're going to start to see day by day just feeling a little bit more sure, a little bit more certain, and actually being in a position where you can fully face things that perhaps you've not been able, ready, or willing to up to this point. And that goes for other people as well. So that clarification, that almost sense of it really feels like a fresh opportunity to look at this from a completely different perspective and come in a little bit more of a respectful way than perhaps we've also been able to previously, also bodes well if you're wanting to make something work or move it forward. And if you have got to a place where you feel actually, with everything that I've been through, I'm ready to let go, I'm ready to release this, actually giving it up, you're way more likely to find what it is that you're looking for in many regards, But there's also a month, I think, where you're really starting to appreciate the true grief of growth. And, it can be difficult. And the way that we continually try at times to self-sabotage our progress can be frustrating. And so as you look at it through newly awakened eyes, in terms of your emotional responses, and you observe the dynamics and the interactions that you're having with yourself, through that self-recrimination and others, this is a month where a little goes a long way. And so any small adjustments that you start to make are going to be so powerful and important, really, in helping you feel that actually I am getting a handle on this, I am moving forward. And because we have this feeling that the theme is very much about you starting to feel more like you and returning to like an essence that you feel has been, well, it's had its upgrade, it's had its like spring clean, if you like, so there's a whole lot of new energy that you're welcoming, but still just kind of feeling more at peace within the self. Now your Seven of Swords comes in because there may be some guilt that's surfacing or permeating around you. Maybe somebody's trying to put a guilt trip on you a little bit, Capricorn, or you yourself are feeling for some of the choices and decisions or the things that you've been thinking about or asking for. There's a little bit of guilt that comes along with that as well. It's such a unhelpful emotional energy, and one that we would really encourage you through this month to try to work to release as much as you can, okay? We have some really auspicious days aside from the 2nd and the 22nd. On the 4th, we've also got Mars sextile Jupiter and the Sun conjunct Saturn. And there's beautiful expansion taking place here, especially with Mars in your sign, Saturn, your ruler here, conjunct with the Sun. And so the ability to actually get it right and to do it in a way that feels in alignment with you. Remember, it's about not censoring your magic this month, having to find a way to show up as you regardless. And again, I think that Seven of Swords is also about like not sneaking around or not feeling like you have to hide things from certain people. This is a time where you've been through the ringer and it's like you're really figuring out what is worth fighting for. But what you do need to remember when you're considering that, Capricorn, is what you're fighting for bringing you expansion, or is it asking you to cling to a version of you that's actually far too limiting in terms of where you're heading, just because it maybe represents a little bit of a comfort zone. So pay attention to how that might be showing up for you, okay? Now we've got on the 8th of the month, Ceres, the asteroid goddess, shifting into the sign of Gemini, and she aligns with the natural cycles of the earth, connects us to the times of harvest. And here we're nurturing the higher mind, and the dialogue comes in a much more healing, loving way. You've got beautiful Ace of Cups showing up here for you. Now there's a vested interest in understanding not only your own but also other people's stories with Ceres and Gemini, because that's the way that we can create meaningful dialogue and connection and start to bridge the divide and move towards more of a sense of unity rather than separation. This is going to be really important because as you continue to come to terms with some of the grief of the growth that you've been through, as you find resonance with others, there's something that really locks in a sense of companionship or new connections, or just feeling like there's a little bit more of a stable foundation for you to start to walk forward, okay? Now you may have lost many things. You may have lost relationships, but in some instances you may have found your peace through that. You may have lost your job or finances, but again, through that you're going to be seeking new opportunities and opening up perhaps to different sorts of skill sets or different types of people. So the losses are always showing us ways in which to reframe and find opportunities to kind of really grow and to find the win in it. And I think there's something about you through the course of February being incredibly honest and realist with yourself, as you do so well, but just in a way that's much more in a state of acceptance and gratitude about some of the shifts and changes. Now, we don't need to like everything that's happened to us, but as we start to understand it more in the context of our stories and others, then it gives us the opportunity to have this transmutation and really this rebirth energy, which is what Venus is about for you. Your whole sense of your worth, and remember, self-worth is your net worth, and that is very intrinsically linked into how much you are loving and taking care of yourself. So that Ace of Cups comes in and allows this transition, this metamorphosis to take place. Now, you may well be linking in with a Scorpio sign with that energy of death coming up. That might be important for some of you in terms of a specific person with this sign, or even the way that they're coming across, because there might be somebody who's quite intense and quite set on displaying or talking to you about something from an emotional perspective. So there's something on their mind in the heart space. Now, we have a full moon coming in the energy of Leo on the 16th of the month. It does make it easier for people to wear their heart on their sleeve, doesn't it? And really tap into that passion center. Although I have a sense with this, there's a little bit more drama, and the intensity can kind of go from 0 to hero very quickly. There's an opportunity for some misunderstandings, or perhaps taking things out of context a little bit. So keep that in mind. I also feel like I want to say to you that around this full moon, you've got to be really mindful of managing your resources, whether that be time or money, or emotions, just having a check on it, because I feel like following that full moon, or maybe in the lead up to it, a really important decision feels like it's about to land for you. Now, this might be something that you have been considering on and off for quite a long time. I'm not sure that it's coming like such a bolt out of the blue for you, but what I do think is going to take place is that perhaps the stars align, so to speak. You may get some communication or some news that all of a sudden makes something that had felt like it was going to be very far away, very immediately plausible and possible for you. And in that consideration of okay, can I do this? Can I do this now? Is it something that's even going to work? Do I still even want it? So all of this is kind of happening at lightning speed. That Page of Swords suggests keep lines of communication and dialogue open with everybody. There may be a tendency to want to shut doors through the course of February, and of course in any situation where you don't feel safe within a relationship, or it's got to a very toxic place, and of course you want to move away. But there may be just other people that you're just feeling still quite quiet around, but there's something in terms of a bit of an urgency because of the way it may be connected to a new opportunity or something that's emerging or evolving. And either because this person has an opportunity to introduce you, or they have something that's important or valuable, or even if you just need to reconcile. So I feel don't turn away, don't look away. Remember, this is a month where we're facing everything. So if there's just been small disagreements or a little bit of distance, be the one that sort of takes that first step, because I feel like that's going to make all the difference in terms of how things start to play out as we go mid-month and later. Now, we also have the asteroid goddess Pallas Athena on the 14th shifting into Aries. And here, this is about our wisdom, our strategy, the way that we use our counsel and discernment in order to facilitate new plans and how we're going to move forward. And the wisdom that she brings in Aries brings a very passionate, quite fast, cardinal energy. So we can be quite pioneering, quite adventurous, and quite just ready to get going. Now, with Mars in your sign as well, you're going to feel exceptionally driven this month. But we have a softening of the energy as we talk about that with the Page of Cups, although I say that she still actually looks quite defiant as she's walking towards moving through this gateway, this portal, which is going to be so symbolic in February as well. It's interesting that the cup is actually left over to the side. So I almost feel like, you may have expressed how you feel, or tapped into something, and then you're like, you know what, that's me. I've said my piece. I've not censored myself, but I also now have somewhere to go and somewhere to be, and I'm not going to wait, and I'm not going to hold back. And I think that's the kind of approach I really see working well for Capricorn this month, because it's going to help you feel like you're in control, and it's going to help you to keep the energy moving very purposefully. And we can see that the energy between these two environments is very different. So where you're headed, and why you're going there is feeling like this deeper and inextricable pull, you know. And there's something about you not needing much, you know. She's walking barefoot, she's, you know, got a light dress on here, there's no baggage, and I think that's really symbolic, you know, because it's being rooted and built from a place of love and coming from a place of this desire to want to have a greater degree of peace and balance and harmony in your life. And so the choices and decisions that you're making in February are all directed with this in a very, very specific way. Now, right after that full moon in Leo, on the 17th, we've got a beautiful aspect with Jupiter sextile to Uranus. So again, Jupiter just amplifying anything it's landing its gaze on. And with Uranus, things can happen and suddenly, unexpectedly, and quite revolutionary. So this is about personal freedom and a rich sense of expansion in your world. And I can't help feeling with that liberation of the depiction of death here, there's something really powerful happening. Eight of Cups suggests that there has to be something that needs to get gone, you know, and whether this is about what you're letting go of on an emotional level, something a little bit closer to home that you're keeping within the self, or more physically, that you are literally departing or leaving, moving away from a job, a relationship, you know, an environment. But there's something about this that, again, you feel very defiant. I don't know if you can see her. If I bring that a bit closer to the camera, she's standing on the rock edge here and the sort of wind's blowing, and she just looks really purposeful. And against the backdrop of this incredible landscape, which actually is very Capricornian with all of this sort of mountainous. Now the river is flowing very quickly, but all of the cups are upturned. So you know what you're doing and you've thought it through. I don't really sense that there's too much of an impulse going on here. Now Mars in Capricorn does mean that you get a little bit set in your ways. So I don't think there's going to be many people persuading you or trying to distract you with any, you know, real success through the course of this month. And sometimes we just need to do what's right for us. And I think that what can come from that is an opportunity for you to really get a handle on this. What am I fighting for? Why does it matter? And what have I learned about myself in this last few weeks? Because some of these moments through the Venus retrograde, especially with Pluto, were incredibly challenging and provocative for you. And in that process, especially as it was very close to home with some of the relationships, you know, even when you know how to help somebody, even when you know very clearly or you can see exactly what it is that they need, this is the hard thing. It's not always the right thing to do to step in, is it? Because it's going to mean that we abandon ourselves. And the thing is that we heal the collective by healing ourselves and making better choices. And if that means that there are people who you have to almost allow to continue to walk their path, and give yourself permission to stand back. And it's not that you want to observe the demise or the you know, the breaking down of anybody, and we're not instructing that or suggesting that, but you know yourself those people in your life who repeatedly, through their actions and maybe their drama, when we're talking about this full moon in Leo, you know, it may be just people who really act out and thrive on that kind of a projection, because you're very capable and you always step in with that practical help. You know, you always show up to be the one that can kind of carry the burden and hold the space. And so the Six of Wands says, actually, there's something about your readiness to claim, to be recognized, to validate yourself and feel free so that you can walk your walk, talk your talk, and just be liberated in your own pathway and your own space right now. And I think there's two very significant things that you've been waiting to come into the right time in order to sort of almost, it's like, okay, now I've got the green light. So two things. Now, remember when I'm saying that there's a wise decision that feels like it's on its way through the course of this month, and there is communication that feels very pertinent to that. I want to say that maybe, I suppose, in some aspects, the Seven of Swords says sharing that decision too early might not be the best thing for you. I don't think it's going to be long. I feel like if there's something coming up in February, or even over the next few weeks, sometimes the timelines are, you know, shifting depending on where you're at in your own journey. But I would say that, you know, a very short time after, you know, that you've kind of come into like a true rooted feeling about it, something is going public. There is an announcement. There is something that feels like it needs needs to be shared. And that feels like it's going to work really well for you. And you'll start to make a lot more sense and connect the dots on some things in your life that have felt like they have pinned you down or backed you into a corner for so long. So let's take a look at the oracle cards for you, Capricorn. That full moon in Leo, you know, it does put an emphasis around the family, children, but also beautiful creative energy. And remember, Jupiter in Pisces is really facilitating that big expansion as well. And so you're going to be driven very powerfully towards, you know, the activation of what your muse is wanting you to kind of focus upon. And I think that can be incredibly helpful for you. Okay, your oracle card is consult your body's wisdom. We have this beautiful depiction of the tree and the 7 chakras here. She looks deeply peaceful. Now her hands are up by her throat chakra. So this is about what we need to say. These are the words that need to be spoken. But also recognizing how the words that we speak to ourselves or that we absorb from others can sometimes get stuck in our energetic field, and it's up to us to take accountability for that energetic hygiene. But I love the amount of green here because it is suggesting the growth, but also the stability that is coming in for you. Like I said, you feel more rooted and more like yourself than you have for some time. And to me, all of these chakras actually look really bright and activated. So I think you're already doing the work that you need to be doing. It's just a continuation and a consistency that wants to come into being. Remember, in Aquarius energy, we're second house for you. So it's about your value and the way in which that value is now translating into, you know, the work that you do, you know, how you position yourself. And so it's a fantastic time if you're wanting to get promotion, if you want to raise your prices, if you want to renegotiate terms that are going to be better and more effective for you in relationships, to have much more of a meaningful discussion about what's fair. So there's a much more kind of just aspect of things coming into balance when you're in a true alignment with what those changes have meant for you. So let's have a look at your astrology cards. Lovely. Earth, persistence, patience, and practicality. So everything really aligning, all of these very supportive conversational guides coming in energetically that says, yes, this is the language that you speak. We're here, we're on board with making you feel comfortable, not in a comfort zone, but comfortable to make the new changes that you're feeling into, to be at peace with what you're asking for, and to be okay with the fact that, you know, things take different amounts of time, and that you will be called to make some fast, urgent decisions. But at the same time, there's also going to be things that you're setting by way of your intentions around that new moon this month, especially as it's conjunct to Saturn, your ruler, that are really going to be about the transformation over the course of the next 6 months. And that's going to be something really beautiful to witness, that I think you should feel into a sense of healthy expectation, yeah? Healthy and hopeful expectation. Okay, let's have a look at your animal totem card. All the decks I use, by the way, are in the comment and the description box underneath. And with all of these asteroid goddess energies shifting in February, you might also be interested in your own personal goddess report. You can find the link for that in the description box as well. And I tune into your natal chart to give you information in relation to that. Okay, you have the electric eel spirit. Bring your ideas to life. Beautiful. There is this sense of fluidity and flow, you know, just the way that water's moving in the 8 of Cups and in the Ace of Cups. I just feel like you're overflowing with a sense of feeling more in tune with your heart space than you have for some time. So if it's felt a bit hardened, if it's had to be shut down, there is like a kind of a cracking open, so the light's starting to come in. If this is feeling uncomfortable energy to be connected to, if you are really still going through the mire with something, then again you have this beautiful transformative energy that comes rooted from a place of deep self-love. And even that Page of Swords suggests to me that take time to express yourself, whether it's just writing it out or, you know, expressing in some way what your body wants to tell you about what it's feeling. That's going to be helpful in just the release aspect of things, okay? But certainly what I'm anticipating is that as you come into this steady and consistent sort of vibration of this is what I'm doing. I'm finding a way to be me. I am not censoring myself any longer. Then you are going to start to notice people improving in terms of their like approach to you, but also the respect. I have a sense that you might start to feel people like giving you a little bit more respect where there have perhaps been some issues in relation to that of late. So that's going to be positive for those of you experiencing that either in the workplace, family, or within a relationship dynamic. So this is a general reading for February, Capricorn. If you would like to think about a personal question, I'm going to go ahead and pull us a couple of cards for that for you. And we will cover that off in the extended. If you are new to the channel, the extended reading, oh, you got a couple more there, that's fine, we'll give you them. If you're new to the channel, the extended reading is another 20 minutes. We're going to give you deeper insight into this main reading by clarifying the messages and also covering off your personal question. And it's a way to support my work. It helps me to keep showing up with all the free content and also to give you more value. So I appreciate those of you that join me if it resonates. So we've got the Queen of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles showing up. There may be a water sign energy that's significant. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. We have a Nine of Wands coming in, Three of Wands, Temperance. And the energy of the Fool. Seven of Swords coming in with the Mystic. Introspection, that's Hermit. And the Page of Wands. We need to know about the Ace of Cups, Four of Swords. Another Six of Pentacles. Really need to take care of your energy levels this month, Capricorn. I mean, Mars is going to be really supportive for you, but just still keep a check on that. Two of Swords. So the Wayfarer is the energy of the Lovers. There's our choice coming in. Justice. Yes. You know, I want to say like a head and a heart conflict, but not really, you know. You may come into this sort of my head saying one, my heart saying another, but it doesn't matter. I'm doing this anyway. You know, it sort of feels like that kind of an energy for me. Awakening is Judgment. Oh, lovely. Energy of the Star. The World, nice. Devil. We've got all your ruling connected cards here. The World ruled by Saturn, the Devil ruled by Capricorn. Okay, Four of Pentacles. And the High Priestess. Beautiful. Okay, Capricorn, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to check back in through the month, see how these messages continue to resonate and unfold for you. If you're joining me for the extended, thank you so much. We'll see you there very soon. You take good care of yourself.